What we're going to do is example 2 on page 62. The question says, determine the equation for the median from vertex C. Okay, the median, if you guys look on the side text, it says a line segment joining a vertex of a triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. So because we're dealing with vertex C, okay, the median is going to create a line from C to the midpoint between A and B. Now, I don't know where the midpoint of A and B is, so I'm going to have to use the formulas we learned before, okay? We're going to scroll to the bottom, plug in our formula. Remember, we had x1 plus x2 divided by 2. That's the one I'm going to use because I find it easiest. y2 over 2. So I add the x's and I add the y's. Now, I need to find the midpoint of the opposite side of vertex C. So what that means is that midpoint has to be somewhere between side B and side A. Those are the two sides we're working with. So we're gonna call A our x1 and y1, and we'll call B our x2 and y2. That's why I'm putting numbers 1 and 2 there, just so you remember. So x1 will be negative 3. Negative 3. Don't worry, we'll get it. X2 will be 2. Don't worry, we'll recap. Y1 will be 3. Oops, I'm down the wrong one.
Negative 5. Negative 3 plus negative 5. Oh, no.
And y2 will be negative 5. So once I've plugged my numbers in, this is why I told you I want you guys to be good at finding the midpoint already. We just carry out the equation. Negative 3, we're going to have negative 1 over 2. Yep. And we're going to have negative 2 over 2. So our coordinates, this will be in fraction form. In decimal form, they would read negative 0.5 and negative 1. So my midpoint between A and B, we're going to call it point M again, is going to be at negative 0.5 and negative 1. So negative 0.5, negative 1, right there on the graph. Nope, we solved it. Negative 0.5 and negative 1. That's our point M, we'll call it. That's the midpoint between A and B. So we used our formula to solve for that. Okay?
My graph isn't perfect.
Okay, to continue from where we were. So I now have the midpoint of the line. Sorry, here we go. The question says to find the equation of the median. The median is a line from the vertex, we're working with vertex C, a line that goes through the opposite midpoint. So, we're starting at vertex C. Our line has to go through the opposite midpoint. There we go. There is our line. I've drawn it. That's wonderful. They want the equation of this line. Okay? What that means is I need to find the slope of this line. I need to have coordinates, which I already have. And then I need to solve in our y equals mx plus b form. So, that's a lot. I'm just telling you what we're about to do. We found the midpoint of the line. The next part is we need to find the slope of this median. Okay? Now, I showed you before we could find the rise over the run, which is the slope by drawing a triangle. But it's going to make this graph very complicated. It's going to be too much on it. So we're going to use the formula you guys had in grade 1.
Yes.
That's grade 1, sorry. Grade 9. First year high school. That's why I thought grade 1.
Yes, grade 1. I thought I was going to do it again. I wish. 1 plus 1 equals 2. I really think that's 4 was a good one.
Sorry, guys. I was thinking first year high school. Slope. Slope of a line. We have our y2, subtract y1. is equal to x2 subtract x1. Let's make sure we know what these are called, midpoint. That was midpoint. We're dealing with slope now. So, we need 2 points in order to find the slope. I have the point at vertex C. I'll circle it. We have this point here, vertex C. And I now have the midpoint, M. That's 2 points along this line. So we have our M and our C. I have to take the coordinates from those two, and I'm going to plug them into the slope formula to find the slope of this line. So let's take a look at this. Another thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have to call one of these points 1 and one of these points 2, so that we have an x1 and a y1 and an x2 and a y2. So I'm just going to choose, we're going to call C our 1, and we're going to call M our 2, okay? That's just for x1, y1, and x2, y2. So it doesn't matter which one I number 1 and 2, we'll still end up at the same answer. So our we'll start with y2. y2 is going to be -1. So let's go down and plug these in one at a time, because this can be confusing. Here's our -1. Okay, -1. And y1 is going to be 2. I got both these in there. Hey, yeah, that's better. 2. My x2 is going to be -0.5. -0.5. And our x1, that's right, is +5. So we just write the number 5 in. So I've now plugged those numbers in. Sometimes that can be hard to see from the graph. We have those numbers. This will equate to -3 over -5.5. Now, this is why I wanted you guys to be good with your fractions. First of all, I have 2 negatives, so I'm going to have what? Positive number. So let's rewrite this, 3 over 5.5. I'm going to make this bottom of a fraction, I'm going to make it a whole number, okay? I don't like dealing with decimals in fraction form. It gets a little confusing. So I'm just going to double it. If I double the top and bottom, I'll have 6 over 11. So my slope is equal to a rise of 6 and a run of 11. Slope is 6 over 11, we discovered. Okay? That's what we've covered so far. So far we found the midpoint of a line, and we took the median of vertex C, and we found the slope of it. So, last part of this that we're going to need to figure out is the question asked. The question asked for an equation of a line. So we had our midpoint equation, we had our slope equation. Because this is a line, our linear equation, so linear equation is y equals mx plus b. We have to remember that. We know that m is our slope. We already solved the slope, so I can substitute that value in for the slope. Y equals, and we'll do it in green, 6 over 11. That was our slope, x plus b. That's nice, we got a slope. Now, I need a y-intercept. I don't really know what it is looking at the graph up here, so I can't put that in. But what I can solve for is the x and the y in my linear equation. I have a point. In fact, I have 2 points. So I'm going to use the x and y from vertex C. I'll have to do it in black because I have so many colors around those numbers right now. This is going to be our x, and this is going to be our y. So x will be 5, and y will be 2. So when we go down here to our equation again, y is 2, 6 over 11, and our x was 5. And now I can solve for b. Okay? So now I can solve for this. 2 equals 30 over 11 plus b. Bring the 30 over 11 over. 2 subtract 30 over 11 equals b. And turn the 2 into a fraction with a denominator that's 11, so it'll become 22 over 11 minus 30 over 11 equals b. When I subtract, I get negative 8 over 11 equals b. Now I could have turned this negative 8 over 11, I could turn it into a decimal. Doesn't really matter. But what that is our b. So the final question asked for us to put the equation of the median. So our equation of the median is y equals mx plus b. Our slope is 6 over 11, so y equals 6 over 11x. And we solved our b way down here. Negative 8 over 11, so subtract 8 over 11. So the equation of this line, y equals 6 over 11 times x minus 8 over 11. That's for the one question we just covered. Which question are we doing? We're doing example 2. We finished example 2. So, okay, that's your homework. Page 66, numbers 1 to 5, 21, and 22. If you can't do 22, it's all right, but try it. It'll help with your understanding if you can.